Hi guys, it's Keith from IELTS Speaking Success, here to give you the skills and confidence you need for the IELTS speaking test. And today I want to share with you the Fluency Formula. I want to show you 3 easy steps to speaking fluently just like this. Let's get straight into it. So today I'm going to share with you the Fluency Formula. This is a technique that I have learnt and developed. Well, I don't know if it's mine actually, but I've developed it over the years and used it to speak the languages that I speak fairly fluently and to help my students as well. And it is so simple, the Fluency Formula. So without beating around the bush, here it is. 1. Repeat. 2. Substitute. 3. Make it true. It doesn't get any easier. Now, I'll explain to you exactly how this works, but first, we need to understand something called chunks. Right, now, what are chunks? Chunk of bread, chunk of language. Chunk is a piece of something, so a piece of language. We can have lots of kinds of chunks, okay? We can have collocations, grammatical patterns, idioms, functions, phrasal verbs. All of these can be chunks. 2 or 3 words usually put together as a chunk of language. And this is the secret to language learning. It really is. But it's so simple. So let's take grammatical patterns. Instead of learning I plus am plus going plus to infinitive, we learn the chunk I'm going to. I'm going to. Easy. You should have. You should have listened to me. You should have. I'd rather not go. So instead of thinking of grammar, we think of chunks. I'm going to. You should have. I'd rather. And there are hundreds of chunks. We can also have chunks which are fillers. And these are very common in conversational English. The thing is, right, well, you know, oh, by the way, and when we learn these, we don't learn by plus the plus way, we just learn the chunk by the way. And to really learn this effectively, I think you have to focus on the listening to the sound, by the way. By the way, don't think of by the way, 3 words. Think of the sound. By the way, by the way, by the way. The more you say it, the more it sounds like one sound, and that is what the chunk is all about. We also have phrasal verbs can be chunks. Let's put it off. You link it all together, right? Let's put it off. Listen up. I get up at 6 o'clock. Sometimes I get up at 7 o'clock. I get up, right, is one sound. I get up. That's your chunk. It's a phrasal verb and it's a chunk. I get up. So we're going to look at taking the chunks and putting them into the Fluency Formula. So the Fluency Formula, as you remember, has 3 parts. Number 1 is, that's right, repeat. So we take an example. So here's a grammatical chunk, right? I want to. I want to. I want to go to Paris. So the chunk is I want to. We can make it meaningful. In this example, go to Paris. Now, to repeat this, it doesn't really work if you're just reading it off a piece of paper, because then you miss so much. What you really need is to be listening a lot and to find listening or audio models. So if you're listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or one of my model answers, there's lots of those and lots of nice examples. You can pick out a chunk that you want to practice. Maybe it's a chunk you don't feel confident with or a chunk you're not very fluent with. This is a very simple example, right? But when you listen, you can pick up things around pronunciation. And I think there are three things I recommend. One is the connected speech. So pick up the connected speech. I want to connects, right? I want to. Connected speech, number one. Number two, pick up the stress, the word stress. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Paris. You'll notice that the weak forms of to is t and to again is t. The weak forms come before the stress. So it's not I want to go to Paris. It's I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Paris. So notice the stress. So number one, notice the connected speech. Number two, notice the stress. And number three is notice the intonation or the rhythm, if you like. Dee 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 dee. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Paris. I know we don't speak like that, but well, we do actually. I mean, when we practicing, it's useful to pick up on and learn this kind of intonation and rhythm. So that is repeating. I know I've made it sound a bit complicated with all the pronunciation, but it's just repeat. I want to go to Paris. Try. And again. And again. Brilliant. So just repeat it until the cows come home. No, just repeat it 3 or 4 times is enough. That is the first step. And what is happening here is it's a bit like going down the gym. It's all muscle work. You're training your muscles in your mouth, in your jaw and your lips to produce the English sounds. Probably a lot of the sounds in your mother tongue are different and they use different muscles. So this is a bit like going down the gym, right? I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Paris. You're practicing the weights and the barbell. Great. Number 1 is repeating. Stage 2 of the fluency formula. Copyright Keith O'Hare. No, it's not. Really, share this with the world. Stage 2 is correct. Substitute. Substitute. So, I want to go to Paris. Substitute go to Paris for another place. I want to go to Manchester. I want to go to London. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to New York. Have a go. And again. And again. The secret is the practice. Practice. Now, what's happening here is not only is it muscle practice, but you're starting to engage the brain a little bit, just a little bit, and you're building flexibility. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to London. It's great practice, and you'll notice you're actually also practicing lots of place names, cities or countries. This is stage 2, substitution. For example, I want to go to London. I want to go to the cinema. I want to go home. That's all we're doing. Substitute and repeat. Okay? If possible, try not to read this because you don't want to be reading aloud. That is not going to help you because, surprise, surprise, when you go down the shop or the pub and speak to your friends, you don't have your script written in front of you. It has to be up here. Okay? So avoid reading. That's substitution. Number 3, stage 3 of the fluency formula is, very good, well done. Stage 3 is make it true. Make it true here takes it a step further. So not only are we working the muscles, not only are we building flexibility, but we are now engaging the brain by thinking about what is true for me. I want to go to Paris. Really? Do you really want to go to Paris? Or somewhere else? What is true for you? Oh, I don't want to go to Paris at all. I want to go to Sydney. Make it true for you. So you create sentences that are true for you. If we went back before to, I want to go to London, maybe not. I want to go to Sydney. I want to go to Africa. The cinema? I want to go to the theatre. And so here we make it true. Maybe I want to go to Paris. I want to go to the cinema. I want to go out. Actually, I don't want to go to Paris. So here you could be even changing the grammatical chunk if you want, but making it true. So we bring it all together. We've got muscle practice, flexibility, and here engaging the brain. So we're thinking. And these 3 steps can be done in probably under a minute with any chunk. But it is a great start and foundation to build your fluency. Of course, you need to go the next step and get down the pub or the shop or into the street and practicing with people, so you're reacting. But you've built up this great base for your fluency. And it all sits around chunks, right? Chunks like, I want to show you 3 easy steps to speaking fluently. Just like this. Just like this. I want to show you 3 easy steps to speaking fluently. Just like this. That's how we build fluency. That is the fluency formula. Don't just sit there. Get out there. Start practicing. It's better to do 5 minutes every day rather than 1 hour once a week. Do a little bit every day and you will see your fluency really picking up. For the chunks, go and look at some sample answers. Go and find some audio and pick out the chunks you want to work on. Remember, don't read, listen. That's it. The fluency formula. Have fun. Thank you very much. Oh, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, share it with a friend. Subscribe here. And why not leave a comment? I mean, do you want to go to Paris? Where do you really want to go? Give me a comment. Even though it's writing, it's a good start. And that's it. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.